Good afternoon, ladies. Good afternoon, gentlemen. I'm here with two of some of the best guys I know around, and I've spent half of my life with these guys, knowing them, and they're incredible. First of all, I have here a Marine. Where are you stationed?
I'm stationed on Camp Lejeune, North Carolina.
An absolute stud. He's an amazing guy. I've known him for 7 years. He's great. First of all, we have Ryan Kinobe. Absolutely.
All right, hey y'all. Like you said, I'm Ryan. I'm also a Marine. I'm stationed, like I said earlier, on Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. I don't really do too much, you know. Yeah.
And next of all, I have my buddy here. I've known him since when? Sixth grade.
Sixth grade. Yeah.
Sixth grade. It's been a while.
2015.
So, I think it was 2016. Early
Maybe
somewhere around there.
Somewhere around there.
So I've known him for a long time, and I've seen his development. He's a politician, entrepreneur, a book writer, an author. What else do you do? You do it all.
Well, you know what? I could sit here and say, oh, my name's Aiden Branss. I do this and this, but I'm really just a person who's hopeful for the world. I have a lot of faith in not only our country, but the entire world. And I just want to make the world a better place. And I want to inspire people to do similar things and put themselves out there and use their voices. And I compare nothing to this hero right here.
I got that switch, I promise.
Absolutely. And I am your host, Sam. You guys know me. You've seen a couple of my videos out here, but it's great to be here to talk to this. And he's the man of the hour. We're here to talk about him, his goals and everything he's done so far. And Aiden, I've known you for 7 years, and I've seen your growth over the years. Can you briefly explain who you are and how you've grown and what you've learned over the years and how you've changed?
I think that's a really great question. I just used to be a typical kid, typical high school kid, just more worried about being popular and doing the trends and not focused on the right things. But I really think my life changed around 2020 when, you guys know, the pandemic happened. And it gave me a lot of time to reflect on not only the world, but who I am as a person. And because of those events, I ended up writing a book called 2020 from a teenager's point of view. And that's where it really just took off for me. And ever since then, things have just been crazy. And I'm still, as a person, I'm still growing. I'm not at my peak yet.
Of course.
But I'm trying to be the best person I can. And I want to be a symbol for other young people out there who want to do big things and make big contributions in the world,
Of course. So this book writing thing, and it's so amazing how you've brought other authors together, and we have our buddy here. Obviously, he's in the process of writing a book himself.
Oh, we just made an announcement. We don't have the title. We don't know what it's about yet, but it's coming.
Hey,
of course.
You'll know. Y'all will know.
Early next year,
2024.
2024.
Maybe 2025 if we're lazy, but
right, you definitely have a book out, and I think it's incredible how you have had this couple people, and you just brought them together and share their story. And I want to talk about your story because your story is gonna go down in history. I think you're doing it great, and I think your trajectory is just going high. And what's so special about your story? What do you think is so unique about you? What do you think is so unique about every other individual?
I think, speaking for myself, I think I've done a lot of things, other 19-year-olds haven't done. I've done a lot of big things. I've been in the media. I've been all over the place. I ran for office when I was a teenager. I think what makes my story unique, I think, is just I want to do things that most other people don't do. And I think maybe drawing attention to something like that, it can inspire a lot of other people. And I have this saying about myself: I can help everyone but myself. And I think that's how I'm going to go down in history, just speaking up for the people who are afraid to speak, putting out writers who can't find any other publisher. I want to make an impact on the world, and I hope I do. I really hope I do.
And speaking of putting out writers, and what do you think is so special about other people's story? And because we all have very unique perspectives on the world, and Aiden here is bringing out new writers to share their experience. People like
Bring
you
out that
read,
talent.
people like you read,
Reed,
you know, and
Annie,
just-
Jaquel,
these are very unique.
Ishan,
people, of
Alexia.
course.
Sorry, I have to shout them out.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
I did. I gave everyone.
Go ahead. And
I shouted them out.
Because these people, we see basically 1% of a human being's life. 'Cause I don't see you every day. I only see different parts of you. And when I read your book, I really see deeply who you truly are. And honestly, first of all, I just want to say thank you to him for giving everyone this opportunity to like share who they truly are and publish their books and making a lot of I know you're a very humble man, but also like making those guys money financially, making sure they're stable, and that's very important. And honestly, I just want to appreciate that from you. But these new writers, what advice do you have to these new writers and in their story? And yeah, just go ahead, tell us.
For new writers, just if you have an idea, even if you think it is the silliest idea, take notes, write it down. There's no such thing as a bad idea. And if you really like the idea, then expand on it. Write more notes. This is what I always tell people. When I was writing my book, The Legend of Evil Murphy, I had like a whole like my wall was full of post-it notes, and it was exactly like what every character did and like the timeline. And you just have to be organized. But for most young writers, just give it a shot, and don't be afraid to be creative, and don't be afraid to express yourself, because without creativity and expressing yourself, you're never gonna write a book, and you're not gonna have the courage to put yourself out there. And I know it's scary, but you can do it. Trust me.
And let's get into this. This is gonna be controversial. The politics.
I like this already.
Oh yeah.
The politics. Politics for me. Politics is a game of life and death, and it's because determining people's way of life. Because you're in that position to like change a lot of people's lives for the better or for the worse. You can make, obviously we can see the gas prices going up right now. You can. It's about life and death, because you can really put people in poverty. Politics is no joke, and I know we watch the TV all the time. We watch the news, and we see the pandemic, obviously, and now that might be handled, and that could kill a lot of people. What do you think makes you special enough to be in that realm of politics? Makes you competent enough to be in politics and determine people's way of life and if they get to live or not, because that's a very big position to be in.
Well, I think there's a few answers to that, and there's a few things you actually need. I would say first, you need someone who has the courage to speak the truth, not be afraid of the truth, and you actually represent the people you're serving. I think a problem wrong with most governments is that they don't actually listen to their constituents. And that's what you have to do. You have to listen to the people. And just on the aspect of like gas prices, I believe that truly there should be more entrepreneurs in government, because entrepreneurs have a certain mindset, like I need to get this done, I need to do this right. They have like a certain energy to them. I have that energy from being an entrepreneur, and I have that energy from being 20 years old. You need the energy, and you have to listen to people. And just like what you said about COVID, I think that was just such a tragic situation. And I think at the time, won't say names, we could have used better leadership. And I think we still need better leadership.
Yeah.
I don't think we've found the right person to represent us. And I'm not just saying like presidential, but just even like more locally, because local elections matter, because you live in, I don't want to like out you, but you live in Illinois, and you have a lot of local government, and I feel like maybe like you should be able to reach out to them if you have a problem. You should be able to voice your opinion, but the truth is these people don't want to hear it. We need people who are going to listen. And when I ran for office, I listened to everybody. I listened to people for hours and hours. And it was about the most random things, at least to me. It was like, oh, what are you going to do about, improving test scores? And what are you going to do about, other opportunities for students, like after high school? Like there's, even if like it's a little thing that these people are asking for, you should still listen, and you should still try to do it, because people have a lot of concerns, and you need to listen to their concerns, because if you don't listen, they're going to go unheard.
Absolutely. Shark in the water, and you are a 19-year-old in in this big land, in this big ocean of politics, and I know I can't imagine being in that position. By the way, that is a very scary place to be. Shark in the water, and you're in there with these sharks, these big, bad, old men and women, and you're a 19-year-old in the middle of all of this politics. How have you been able to compose yourself and explain your ideas to the people, and put the people on your side? And how have you been able to really explain your ideas, like I said, and combat these old people? And what do you think about these old men and women in politics, and how has that affected you? How have they come about, and how do they see you? And
Well, I listen to them. I listen to everyone's concerns. That's how you get people on your side. You just have to talk to them. And even if you don't agree on everything, you're going to find common ground with most people. Just listen. Just give them a chance. And even if you don't agree with what they're saying, we could just respect the fact that we're all human. We're all in the same situation. We all live here. We just have to work together, because being divided is it's not gonna get us anywhere. And to answer the question about like older people, I think that if I were elected and I committed to this, I would have only served one term, because I think you should get new people in the system every few years, because when you have certain politicians, won't name names, but I'm sure you can guess who, when you have certain people who have been doing this for decades and decades, they're not in touch with what's currently happening, what the issues are now. It's not 1970 anymore, it's 2023. We have to focus on now, and we do need people. I know I said it before, we need people with energy, because energy attracts people. When I was on that debate stage, you could probably pull up the clip, I made everyone laugh twice. And it might have seemed a little goofy for a political debate, but not everything has to be so angry and aggressive, I have learned. And just being a teenage candidate, I mean, it definitely had its hardships. You have people who attack you about your age and things like that. And I'll never attack someone for anything. I do not care who you are. I think we're all equal in this world. And those people who said things about me, I'm sorry they disagree or they just don't like me, but I'm still going to keep doing what I'm doing. And even months after running for office, I still have people who constantly reach out to me and ask for my opinions, and I have people who post on Twitter about me still. You're always gonna have people like trying to bring you down, but you just have to be resilient and you have to be strong.
Okay, perfect. A 19-year-old in politics. You're a 19-year-old. That is really young to be a politician for most people. And do you think there should be more younger individuals in politics? Because most people just come right out of high school and then go straight to college, get a job, the simple things, and then we complain about our daily lives or the gas prices, for example. Because that's one of my biggest problems right now. Is driving an SUV or like a bigger car. That's a big problem. And so for young people that want change, and we want change right now, what would you advise us to do? Do we get more young people in politics? Do we get the old ones out? Do we have an age restriction of how old you should be to if you're too old, then you can't do politics then? Like, what do you think? I want to know your opinion on that, on age and politics.
Well, I will say, young people, they should speak out. If there's something going on that they are just for or against, whatever it may be, use your voice. The First Amendment is the freedom of speech, and that is granted to everyone who lives in this country, and you should use that. And to answer the question about like what you said about like getting the older generation out, I don't even think it's necessarily the older generation. I think it's more of just term limits. You should only be in office for a certain amount of time. Like the president, like the max they could do is 8 years. We have senators and representatives who have been doing this for 30, 40 years. Like, you need those term limits so new people can get in. And if a young person wanted to run for office and they reached out to me and they said, oh, I want to do this, I would obviously support them, It's hard. It is, but it's going to be hard. It's going to have its challenges. And, most people our age do just go off to college. I had to sacrifice 7 months of my life. I had to give up my privacy, but I don't have any regrets because I knew I was doing the right thing. And 1,500 people also thought I was doing the right thing.
Of course.
And we just have to do better. And when we, put new laws in and there's term limits, I think things will start to get better.
Absolutely.
I think just for now, things are going to be rough. And your concerns about inflation and all that, they're not listening to you, is the truth. They don't care. And I'm not saying all of them, but some people will just be like, oh, not my problem. I'm in a different tax bracket, like they don't care about like the common man, and it's rough out there. And I've been listening to a lot of people and their struggles, and it's really hard. And I know just in this upcoming election year, a lot of people are going to be focused on inflation. It's a big thing. And that's why I say entrepreneurs should be in government, because that would not be a problem.
Next topic I want to talk about is violence. Violence in Illinois is extremely high. Violence, gun violence especially, it is scary. It's starting to encroach in our schools. It's starting to slowly pitch in our schools. We can see even in the suburbs, we can see like kids starting to bring guns to school, and it's starting to get more dangerous. And I don't feel comfortable with my siblings going to schools like that. What do you think? How can we solve this problem? Not just how can we solve the root problem? Because we need to go to the roots and solve those problems, because it's starting to get scary, like really scary. And I was walking on the street the other day, and actually about a year ago, and there was a dude almost shot by a drive-by shooting, and he got chased down in front of me, and this is in the suburbs. And I'm supposed to be safer here, but it's obviously in the city also that's not acceptable. And what do we do about that? Especially in Illinois. And as a politician, what would you say about that?
I think there's a lot of root causes. I don't think there's necessarily just one root cause to violence. I think there's many causes. Sometimes it's mental health. Sometimes it's something going on in the home. And it's the root cause what these people are doing. And it's usually, I believe that sometimes maybe they're taking out something when they commit violence. It's really rough. It's sad to watch the news and you hear about all the massacres and the shootings. And one of my big concerns during my campaign was just like praying to God that no tragedy like would ever happen to the people I could have represented. I don't even want to imagine it. And anytime human life is lost, it is tragic. It doesn't matter if it's someone who was just an innocent bystander or someone on the streets of Chicago. All life is tragic. And I think another thing that might play into it, I think maybe the media, because when people commit these big acts of violence, I think they realize, well, I'll get on the news and they'll talk about me. And it's messed up. It's so messed up. It's just such a sad situation, and I don't know. What do you kind of think about it? Like, what would you kind of like say to like someone in power who could actually change something? I want to hear your perspective.
Absolutely. For me personally, first of all, it's very unfortunate for the families that have lost individuals and have lost their family members to violence. We pray for their families, and I hope everything gets better for them. And I just want to pitch in that life is very delicate, and these gang members and these places, people go there usually to feel belonging. They want a family, some kind of relationship usually, and and obviously wherever those guys go, they also go. And I don't think it's necessarily just political problem or a social problem.
It's bigger than that.
It's big. It's much
way bigger than that.
And I honestly think this is going to take time, but we need to start taking steps as soon as possible. Obviously, creating more opportunities for people like that. People with criminal records. A lot of them can't get jobs, so they back right into crime. Does that make a lot of sense? And I think we just need to get those people in the right spaces, right opportunities, and I think first of all, that would be a great first step. And what do you think, Brian? You've been quiet lately.
Nah, I was letting y'all talk. No, I definitely agree, especially like when it comes to violence like that. It's really hard to like see what you can do about it, just because it's like there's so many factors that cause that. You know what I mean? Like it's not just, oh, our community needs to provide this or this and that. It's also like you have to understand, uh, the personal reasons and everything. So it's like it's a lot of factors that play into that, and I feel like it's just more of like just coming down and understanding what the main problem is and just knowing how you can attack that. You know what I mean? And Aiden, for you, you gotta really like, and I think you're gonna definitely win it next time. But when you're in office again, or when you get a chance to run for office, what do you like? Have you thought about what you would do? Like, what is one big thing you would change, like that would impact, uh, just violence and just like, kids, like people just doing stuff like that. Like, well, what do you think, uh, you could do to change that?
I think one of the biggest problems all over the country is that governments are not willing to invest in programs. There's a lot of programs and organizations you can put funding towards, and even if it doesn't completely get rid of the problem, if it saves one person from committing something terrible, I think that's a win. We need to invest in mental health. We need to invest in gun safety programs. There's a lot of things we need to do. Community outreach programs, even if it's just a little like group, that's better than nothing. We need to put money into these like groups and organizations and education. I think even as an adult, adults need to be educated sometimes, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think even putting PSAs on TV and YouTube ads and the radio, just little things here and there. If one thing can change a person's mind, I think that's a success. And that's what depending on like what position I would be in, I think that would be one of the big things I do. Just put money into that's the thing, they don't ever tell you this, but they have so much money they do not spend. They have millions and millions of dollars they're just keeping, and not in all situations, but for example, just like a school district, the one I ran for, they were a debt-free district and they had millions upon millions of just unspent dollars. Why couldn't they create programs? Why, like, it's just a question of why. There's just such a lack of leadership, and when people get into office, they become lazy and they don't actually commit to what they said they were gonna do. So to answer your question, Ryan, that would be one of the things I do. You just got to put money into this because the government has money. They just don't want to spend it. And you just need someone to sign off on that. So I would think that's a big like first step we need to do.
You just need people to just step up. You know what I mean? Just step up. And this goes back to your question earlier. You asked about like people in like old age in politics and something like that, right? And I feel like anyone could really run for office, right? I believe that people need to be heard. Doesn't regardless of age, like everyone has an opinion, everyone is going through something. And like someone like him, right? He saw that there was something big going on and it was my chance to, step up, and that's exactly what he did. And we need more people like that to step up and do the right thing. Because unfortunately it's just so corrupt these days. It's hard to, you lose the motivation even when you get in office. You don't know, because it's so corrupt. There's really like, nothing you could do, but you just have to work around it and do the best you can.
I agree.
Does this apply to drug addiction and like just drug addiction? I want to talk about that. Does this also apply to drug addiction? Obviously, keeping people away from drugs, and obviously, drug addiction usually leads to crime. It's always revolved around crime. Usually. So what do you think?
I think it goes back again to just education. You got to teach people these things. You got to show them this is what happens if you'll do drugs. Like, you just have to keep it real with people. You can't try to like cover it up and just again do what they always do and ignore it, because drug problems have been very prominent, I feel like, since the 70s and even way before that. I think the problem is it just keeps going up and up. You look at the numbers, it's heartbreaking. You see how many people die from drug use, and it's really sad. And again, I just think all what you can do is you have to listen to these people, and you have to, again, if you invest in programs, that will help. And another thing I also think is that I don't necessarily believe that if you're just like, say you're just like a 21-year-old guy and you were doing drugs in your home and you got caught. I don't believe, as long as you're not committing like another crime, I don't necessarily believe someone like that should be thrown in prison, you know? I think we need to make these programs like, how about instead of sending them to jail, you make them go to like a rehab or like a therapist, like, because I think the root cause of drug addiction is mental health. And again, that goes back to the thing with violence. Just that a lot of it is rooted in mental health, and we just don't put enough public funding into mental health. People just ignore it. They act like it's not a thing. It's really sad. But if I ever get into office, these are things that I'm passionate about. So I want to put that forward, and I want to just do what I can. And I want to listen to people.
Absolutely. I just want to open the table up. If you want to speak to the viewers, both of you, if you have anything to say to the viewers.
Well, this is more like, Aiden's interview. What you just said kind of leads me to my next question. What are some things that you think when you get into office, right? What are some things you could do different to ensure that you win? And when you do win, what are some things that you're gonna do to just leave a mark? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just do something different that nobody has ever done.
Well, in the concept of just winning the election, that's not the easiest thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of factors that play into that, and I didn't have too much money to my campaign's name. We didn't have huge, big donors because I didn't agree necessarily with what those people were saying and what they wanted me to say, because again, I'm all about speaking the truth. But just say I do get into office, I think day one, that first day, you can do so much. You can sign so much into law. And there's a lot of things that need to be done. As you know, as we've been talking about this past 30 minutes, there's a lot that needs to be done. Again, just inflation, we got to deal with that. We have to deal with the environment problem. We have to make sure our veterans are taken care of.
Absolutely.
There's so many homeless
Absolutely.
veterans on the street. It's so heartbreaking. Our country should take care of those people. And again, this applies to local, state, and the federal government. There's so many things they could do, but they're just not doing. And again, if there's people in the community who say to me, I believe this, like whatever the issue is, I will listen to that and I will take it into consideration, because sometimes the littlest things can make an impact. Even if it's just an impact on the education system, even if it's something so small and significant in the eyes of these other politicians, that can leave a huge impact.
What do you think we could do what do you think we could do to improve the education system and just make sure that, everyone's set up and it's not like, it's not all messed up?
Do what's in the best interest of the students. That's my answer for that, because a lot of these school districts, they take into account, oh, well, what about the parents? Oh, what about the teachers union? Oh, what about this, that. They often ignore the students. the people who make up the schools, because without the students, there is no school.
Absolutely.
That's what these districts need to prioritize on. They need to prioritize giving the students a good education, listening to their concerns and opinions. And each district has like their own individual unique problems, and I think it's up to the local school boards to act in the best interest of the students and not, try to favor donors or community members who just oppose it. You have to just take a stand and you have to do what's right for these students, because these kids are going to be the future. We want these kids to do better than the future, like the future generations and like the older generation, I should actually say. So I think that's what we need to do. And just every district has their own problems, and they just need to make the best judgment, but they usually don't. They really don't have the best judgment on a lot of these people. Respectfully,
Mm-hmm.
we need to do better, and they need to do better, and our students need to be heard. And from what I hear, the district I ran for, it just seems like it's getting worse and worse. You have all these people on the board who are bought and paid for. Do you think those people care about the students? And I genuinely want you to answer that. Do you think people who are bought and paid for are genuinely like, man, I really want to do what's right for the community?
Absolutely.
Of course not.
Absolutely not.
Exactly.
For the money.
And that's the problem. And if the media is watching, you can clip that and you can use my words. I stand by what I say 130%.
Absolutely.
Nah, that's crazy that it really just comes down to that, and it goes to show the corruption in communities and just like politics in general. It's like now I feel like it's so hard to even attempt to run for anything just because it's so corrupt. There's something like it's evil. You know what I mean? It's crazy. So I definitely understand what you're saying, and I agree with it as well.
I would like you to take a moment to speak on corruption in politics and your experience and what you've seen, what the public doesn't see, and if you could just, I wouldn't say expose some secrets, but just reveal some things we might not know on this show that the public might not know.
Well, there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that no one will ever tell you about unless they have a lot of courage. And I just hate the fact that to be involved with politics, even if you don't necessarily partake in the corruption, you're always going to be surrounded by it. And there was things just weird things. There was a lot of weird things that were done by other people, and you see these things and you can't even do anything about it. And that's the thing. There could be 100 people in one of these rooms and they all see it and none of them say anything except you. And it's really messed up in my opinion. I don't know why corruption is so prevalent in politics, and it shouldn't be, because I ran for a school board, you know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't think that stuff would just be a part of it, but it is. And even if it isn't necessarily like illegal corruption, there's such thing as, like, I think you could define it as legal corruption, because you're doing things unethical, or you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, and I think it's wrong. And I've seen things. I can't really speak on other people too much, but it's there, of course, it's there, and I wish there was a way you could get rid of it, but I don't know. And I think the only thing you can really do is, if you are elected, get into the system, avoid it, and you do what's best. That's the only way you can really avoid it and stop it. And like I said, it is very just upsetting that corruption is just such a prominent thing. I think I read this study that said like the majority of Americans believes like all politicians are corrupt, and not gonna lie, they're kind of right. They're right. You'll never hear anyone else say that. I'm just keeping it real. A lot of them are, and it's really messed up. It's really messed up. People you would think who would never, they do. And it's really messed up. Someone I really looked up to, they did that, and I'm like, wow, it's pretty messed up.
I feel like it's gotten to the point where it's the only way you can even make it out there, you know what I mean? Like, because even if, let's say, by some chance you do get elected, do you really think you'd be heard like that? Because
They would try to silence you.
100%.
That's what they would do. They would tell you, don't say that, we don't want you to say that, or they won't give you the time to say it. They'll be like, no, you can't speak right now. Like, there's always other people involved with it. You're always going to have like these people around you who are going to try to prevent you from saying certain things. And even if you do get into office, like everyone is still going to attack you. And people are going to just say anything you say, they'll be like, no, that's wrong. Like, it's messed up. And I didn't make it that far, but I'm obviously, like, I know a lot of people who are in high positions, and in a way, I've seen them change. I've seen them change as people, and you can tell, like, once they get in, there's like something, a mental switch in them. And I never experienced getting into, office. I don't know what that's like, so I can't really speak on it too much. But I can tell you just from a campaign side, if it's so prevalent in the campaign, I can't imagine how it is when you get in the position,
Aiden, I want to ask you about religion, man. I think that's something that's big in my life, and I feel like it's starting to, kind of like enter its way through your life now a little bit, you know what I mean? So I want to ask you what your values are and what your standpoint on religion is.
Well, I think that's an excellent question. So there was this thing I said during my debate, and I believe the question was something like, if elected, will your religious beliefs play into your decision making? And I decided to answer it along the lines of, I have my own religious beliefs, but I'm not gonna necessarily implement that in my decision making. And the media really ate me up on that one. People said I was anti-American. People said it was unconstitutional. I will literally send you the article so you could put it up on the screen.
Absolutely.
And it really hurt my feelings, because I will say it, I love Jesus Christ. I am not afraid to say it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think just because necessarily I said that my beliefs aren't going to play into my decision making, that doesn't mean it's not a part of me. And a lot of people actually probably believe that I am not religious, that there was a church during my election. They said really messed up things about me, and this church, in my opinion, I believe that they weren't necessarily preaching God. They were just preaching their own political beliefs disguised as a church. And I've learned something over the years, that sometimes bad people who claim they're Christian, they're not really Christian,
Mm-hmm.
because a good Christian would not do bad things. And I'm not afraid to admit it anymore. I know at the time I was a little choppy with my words, I guess you could say, and that's the soundbite everyone uses of me. But I am religious, and it does play into my life, and not only just my writing, but my daily day-to-day life. Sometimes you just have to say man, I'm so happy to be alive.
100%.
Truthfully,
100%.
just truthfully.
And people don't realize how big of a factor it is. Even the things you do, you don't see that God is there. You know what I mean? God is really watching over you. You know what I mean? I feel like people are just, how can I say it? I feel like they've been raised in a way, especially here, to just just hate God and believe that they've done everything they've done by themselves. I feel like it's impossible to do anything without God. Especially for me, I'm a big Christian. I'm really religious, and I feel like God has made a big impact in my life with everything I've done. Even just because coming from a different country to here, just that change, just being able to get through all the adversity and the challenges that came with coming to a new country. It was all possible through God, and I want to open people to just open more people to religion and just God and just explore. And this is not me trying to force my religion or my beliefs on anybody. It's just, something that's there. And I feel like, like a lot of things, sometimes people just need to get educated about it.
I agree.
Religious expression is very vital for our society, because like it or not, it's a part of us. Whether you're a Muslim, Christian, Catholic, whatever you are, and I know we definitely should be able to express our religions, but obviously it needs to impact us in a positive way. It needs to impact everyone. As long as your religion is not impacting anyone in a negative way, or it's not hindering anyone from a good life, I think you definitely should be able to express it. Absolutely.
I agree.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Definitely. So, of course, with religion, do you think that if more people were open to religion, do you think that, just like in terms of everything, the way they are, do you think it would be better? Because you just recently really gave your life to God, right? And before that, you weren't really a big Christian. You didn't really know about it. And how did it impact your life? Just opening your life to God and just all the possibilities that come with just being religious.
I think the one thing I've really taken away just recently is everything happens for a reason. Everyone has their own plan, and I think really when I lost the election, I kind of really realized that I'm like, this is just a part of my plan. It's setting me up for bigger things. And I think the phrase, God works in mysterious ways, I think that is true, and we don't necessarily, know why these things are happening in our lives or in the world, but I think there is a reasoning, and this is the devil's world. It truly is, and we just really have to fight back against that. And like you said, religious expression, again, it doesn't matter what you believe in. I think expressing those beliefs, I think that's a really important part of society and democracy, because we need people with multiple perspectives.
Absolutely.
And again, we're all human. Just always remember that we're all human.
I totally agree with that. Perspective is the most important thing in society, and being able to see through your lenses, and then I can understand you more, and then there can be peace in our society, and obviously less violence. And violence is one thing about where we live. I keep reiterating this: violence, because it's such a big deal, and it's really affected us. It's really affected me. It's made me move. It's made probably him move. It's we've seen it. I've seen it in front of me. And the people, the richer people, the higher hand, the iron individuals that don't feel that, because where they live is very safe and very protected. I don't think they care as much about what people are going through, because people are losing their lives. And I think religion might be a great way, a great source of transportation to take people somewhere else, put their mind somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And give people hope and
Absolutely.
faith. I think that's a big thing.
100%. All right, Aiden. Just touching back on you being the great author you are, you just came out with a new book, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go!
Oh, awesome, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's been out for 2 months.
2 months?
I've been a little busy, so I haven't necessarily had the time to promote it as much as I should, but I'm here to talk about it now. It's called Aiden Branss Presents The Legend of Eagle Murphy, and I love this book because let me tell you guys why. So, the books that I published specifically, 2020 from a teenager's point of view, Damaris in Ohio by Daniel Castro, The Short Kid from Pakistan by Yuri Zadi, and The Pyromaniac by Jaquel Madison. Those books, all of those characters are combined in Evil Murphy, and it's basically we're kind of creating a little universe.
Oh wow!
And the other books are connected in little ways, but those 4 books, it's really what it's based on, and you got those characters interacting. It was super fun to write, and it's the main premise of it is there's a man, and it starts 30 years in the future. His name is Randy, and a character tells him, like, basically this guy Murphy, like, took over the entire world. And he says, like, you gotta go back in time and you need to find the author to stop this. And so they send him back in time, and, like, the whole book, it's basically about stopping Murphy, and has a lot of action. It's like like fighting, like not to spoil anything, but
I was gonna say.
I think I will say this though, not to spoil anything. I think my favorite part of the book is there's a scene. Again, I don't want to give too much context.
Absolutely.
There's a scene where
this is just special for just this interview.
there's a scene where Damaris and the short kid, they jump out of like a plane. I think that's like my favorite scene in the book. So
wow,
and that's not even the craziest thing, but you got to go check out the book on AidenBranssBooks.com.
Absolutely, yeah. I definitely will check that out.
100%. Heck yeah.
All
right. We've had a great discussion today. You know, about politics, really serious things, and let's end this on a fun note, right?
Mm-hmm.
What would you guys say? So, what games do you guys play? Like Fortnite. What do you guys? What's up? What's the new fun thing to do now?
Nah, I play. Honestly, I used to play a lot of games, but I don't play that much anymore. But I'm still, here and there. I know you too.
Yeah,
a lot.
I used to be into games a lot. Currently I'm playing Fortnite. I'm on level 40. I'm trying to get the
You sweat?
I am. Yeah, I'm a sweat. Yeah.
Level 40 is crazy.
I'm trying to get the new Peter Griffin skin in Fortnite.
Ooh.
So I'm like almost there.
Wow.
It's very draining.
I play Fortnite as well.
Oh, that's
we
dope.
gotta play, bro.
We should do duos.
Trios?
Oh shit.
Maybe.
You play on Xbox or PS4?
PS5, but you can play on any system. You could play on any system. Like if you're on Xbox, I can still play with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just need the username.
Wait, what about the OG games? Because I remember you had PS3?
I had a lot of old systems,
Yeah.
like the Nintendo 64, and you know what I was really thinking about, like, recently? I was really considering buying a Nintendo Wii. I had one when I was a kid, but then it broke because I don't know why, but I put a penny in, like, the disc slot and it broke it. So I've been really wanting to get a Wii and just, like, get back into some, like, games from when I was younger. Because Fortnite, it's very draining.
Yeah.
It gets bored.
Super Smash Bros.
I was thinking about that Super Smash Bros.
What do you guys think about the new GTA 6?
That looked
the new trailer?
That looks like, because a lot of people were very excited for that.
I'm not
disappointed.
I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I was super excited, but the fact that they were like, 2025, bro. I was like,
wait 2 more years.
What?
It's crazy. I've been saying to myself, like, man, 2024 is gonna be the year GTA 6 is gonna come out, and then it tells me that. I'm like, man, next year is just gonna.
I was like, these people, huh? They're playing with me.
Then maybe not even like it anymore. I'm just like, whatever.
2 years. That's
I'll
like
be 21.
I know I'll be. Wow, that's like 2 years just to wait for a game. We've been waiting 10 years prior already since the last GTA.
Yeah.
Last announcement.
If it doesn't live up to the hype,
I think it would.
I think
I'm gonna sue GTA.
it looks
One
like
time.
it looks like a good game.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was worth like waiting 12 years,
12
but
years.
like it looks good though. I will say.
Absolutely.
I hope.
I like how they're going back to Vice City, like the OG game.
I think that's actually lit.
Yeah, and like if you just watch the trailer, they make fun of like Florida culture. Like there's people like fighting alligators, and, like Karens walking around. Like it looks crazy.
You can see the wigs, the guy with the wigs, and the graphics just looks insane.
That's
The
true.
graphics are just amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
They just have like a little bit of everything. You see every like little bit of every culture, which is kind of cool.
Of course, you always see the news all the time. Florida man did this.
Florida
man did this.
Florida man caught shoplifting in their underwear. It's like the weirdest thing.
Finding an alligator and all that stuff. It's crazy, but I'm just glad we had this conversation. And you guys, I'm gonna open up the table for the last time. If you guys want to put anything out there, shout out to anyone. Shout out your social media.
Well, y'all didn't know. Now you know. I'm also starting my own YouTube channel. You know, you actually go subscribe.
Okay, yeah, big announcement again.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. Definitely looking forward to just putting out content, just seeing how it goes. It's definitely gonna be fun. And then if y'all have you know, any ideas or anything y'all want me to do, I'll be down for that. He'll put the YouTube link, you know, in the description. So yeah, alright.
Ready to go.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
Ready to go.